Hello everyone, Josh first back again, bringing you guys some more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross, and today we did an update earlier today talking about the fact that the Gray Demon and Chapter 6 were all coming to Global within the next day. So let's talk a little bit about the Gray Demon and some units that you can run to go ahead and try and compete against that demon on normal, hard, and of course extreme difficulties. So you can of course get your limit break material, so you can go to level 70 for your characters. The Gray Demon will be dropping wings like the Red Demon dropped horns, so that's what you can expect to be getting from that raid. So let's go ahead and check out some of the heroes that can make your life a little bit easier. We're gonna go from row we're gonna go from top to bottom with just the way my box is laid out, just to keep this simple. Top row, nothing really there I'd recommend at all, not one thing. Second row, yes. Now there's a big question mark with Jericho, and the reason why I say that is Jericho really wants debuffs. Okay, she really wants to hit a debuffed opponent, so she'll do 3 times damage. Unfortunately, you cannot debuff the Gray Demon. Therefore, the only real attribute you're going to be gaining from Jericho is her ultimate. So you're going to be wasting a lot of time pissing around with little damage here and there. That's not going to do anything until you can of course get her ultimate and then do her ultimate and do quite a bit of damage, because you do get 2 times crit damage with Spike, which is crazy. So if you build her with all crit gear and you let her crit rate build up, sure, then she'll do a lot of damage. But since you can't do any damage before then, she's going to be kind of a waste of space for the most part of the fight. But if you lack everything else DPS wise, she could be an option, but not a reliable option because of that. That's a big drawback for her, that you cannot debuff. Now, we have one of the recommended units, one of the better units that you want to run. SR Green Holy Knight Gil Thunder. Now, Gil Thunder, you're probably thinking, isn't he a PvP unit because his passive says that he gets 30% up defense-related stats in PvP to all allies? Yes, but you're going to be running him in your main team, and we'll talk about why you're going to be running him later on. But what you're really going to be getting from him is this. You want the lightning power. Even at rank 1 on the bronze, you get a 30% attack up for 2 turns. That's a lot of value in a rank 1 card. Rank 2, it goes up to 40. Rank 3, it goes up to a massive 60% increase of attack for all allies. So, way more damage, and since he is a green type, he has that advantage over, of course, Gray Demon. So, you know, hopefully less damage that you're going to receive. So that is a solid choice right there. Gil Thunder will be our first solid choice. Blue King, believe it or not, this might be one of the rare times you will not use the King, Fairy King, Blue King. The only thing you're going to be getting of value out of him is this. You're going to be getting this, a heal. But there's better options for healing for this particular boss, because unfortunately to get a heal on this, you will need a rank 2 or higher card. His passive will work with other units that we're going to talk about as well. The increased fairy allies basic stats by 8%. That could be handy for the type of team that you could run. But honestly, this is like a last resort type of unit. This is something that is actually rarely not recommended for this particular content. Alright, row 3. We have Green Meletus. Some of you are probably thinking, oh my god, please tell me my Green Meletus that I built up and I rerolled for can be useful for this stage. The answer is yes. But, and I mean a big but, you really want to set him up properly. Don't be just trying to click like you normally would in PvP or in PvE, where you're just clicking counter, 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 counter. You want to save your counter for when the boss is grounded, because if the boss is in the air, because this boss does fly, you have to go so many turns and break down like their bar or whatever it is, and if you don't do that, the boss will be in the air and they will not be grounded. And since his counter is a ground based move that he does from the ground, he won't be able to counter the boss if the boss is flying. So you want to be very, very careful of how you use your counters. Do them when you get the boss grounded. So when the boss is finally on the ground, then you can set up for a big counter. Then your Meletus will be able to go off and use his ability, which of course is right here, Outburst Counter. for quite a bit amount of damage. And you want to build him up with a lot of HP. A lot of HP. You want to run him on HP gear and try to get as much HP as you can from your rare or uncommon right side substats on the bottom right side. So definitely try to do that, guys, because then your Meletus will be better suited for this particular stage. And he's still not one of my recommended units, but he is a somewhat reliable DPS option. More reliable probably than Jericho for this particular stage, but still not one of the more reliable for DPS. All right, now go through the next row. Nothing. You're probably thinking, what about this green Fat King, the blue Fat King? Both of them are not going to work. They're not going to work. The blue Fat King is a worse version of Meletus, and the green one is built solely around AoE farming and just will not do anything for you in that stage. Green Bond is terrible, and he's got a lot of AoE as well. Just not something that you want to consider running. He won't do you any good. Next row. Next row, we have two options. Elaine. Now, Elaine is not one of the ones I would particularly recommend, but she does serve you a little bit of utility. So, she does have an S1 single target that decreases skill ranks and does lower the ultimate gauge. So, that could be helpful. And since you have to build her with attack to get attack out of this, there you go. Possible option. Not a particular DPS, but possibly an option. Her S2 completely useless because it's an AoE, but it does lower ultimate gauge yet again. So there is that, but you have to do that on a rank 2 or higher, so that might not be as reliable for you guys. Because a lot of cards that you have to rely on being rank 2 or higher to get their full potential could be a little bit of a problem when you're trying to be consistent. And then, of course, her ult. She inflicts a 490% attack and then stuns. Of course, that stun won't do jack shit because you cannot debuff the boss. So, again, she's there. She can provide you a little bit of utility, and she does a little bit of damage. Now, her passive is actually not too bad because you increase fairy allies' HP-related stats by 15%. So, that's going to give your green, spoiler alert, your green king, which we're going to get to at the end, your green king will get 15% more HP, and your Hellbroom, your green Hellbrooms will also get 15% more HP, as well as, of course, your Elaine herself. So, that's not bad. That passive is not bad. Now, of course, that passive does not work for your partner's team. Passives only work for your own team, whereas actual skill buffs work for everyone. So, hopefully you guys do know the difference. But yeah, Elaine is a possible option, not something I would recommend. But again, we're very limited on what we can run, so we got to kind of build what we can. Some of you might be building more support-heavy teams and relying on your partner to run a Green King or a Meletus or whatever. Or maybe you're both running like half support, half DPS, and you're supporting each other that way. I don't know. You're going to have to mix and match and find out what works best for you, but thankfully you can beat it on normal mode, so a lot of you should be okay on that mode. It's hard mode and beyond where a lot of you might start to struggle, so I'm trying to give you as many options possibly as I can, but there's not very much to pick from, so keep that in mind, guys. Our limited pool right now in global is kind of tight. Alright, a recommended unit, Fairy Hellbroom, and the reason why you want to run him is because he actually buffs on top of your Gil Thunder, so they actually work hand in hand. And the reason for that is because it says attack related stats, not attack stats, so they will combine. So on a rank 3 you get 30% for 3 turns, 20 for 2, and you get 15 for 2. And actually that's not a big difference between 1 and 2's rank. So that bronze is actually pretty damn good. Obviously, it's half of the gold, but still, not bad. Not bad at all. So you're going to run that alongside, of course, your Gil Thunder, because now your Gil Thunder is going to bump up the attack for, let's say, 60%, and then your Hellbroom can go up 30% pierce rate, 30% crit chance, and 30% crit damage for all your allies. So there you go. You're going to be doing a ton of fucking damage. And then his passive is heals for 100% of defense when hero's HP reaches 0. So he has his own built-in self-revive mechanic to where if he actually receives a fatal blow, he will revive with a little bit of HP. And if he gets hit again, of course, he'll die. But it's still kind of nice to have that little built-in mechanic for him. For this particular stage, I would have liked a better passive, but still, nonetheless, good. Great unit because of that buff. So you can run him alongside Gil Thunder, and then of course you can also run Elaine for that small support, and her passive is pretty decent for this particular team. So those are some options. Somebody just subscribed during our video. That's awesome. Another solid option, Princess Elizabeth. So you're seeing here, you can run a really good support team and help your teammate that has a green king if you do not. So green Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth, what does she do? She does quite a few things, and the way you have to build her is also pretty good for this particular stage. So she actually has a single target, cancels buffs and stances, which really doesn't matter, doesn't really apply here that much, but she does damage equal to 400% of attack, so that's very, very good for an S1. Her S2, her skill 2 rather, heals 200% all allies on fucking bronze. An amazing heal. 200% of attack. So what does that mean, guys? You need to build your Elizabeth on attack and get her right side attack stats on your substats on your top right piece of gear. Either it's a rare or an uncommon. You need to get all those substats to be attack on that top right piece of gear. That way you can make this heal worth it. That is such a high heal percentage on a rank fucking 1 card. Rank 2 goes up to 240, removes debuff, so it gets a cleanse. And then on rank 3 goes 400% healing, or 400% of attack healing, which is ridiculously high. And of course removes debuffs as well. So that is nuts. And that's not even what makes her good. It's not even what makes her good yet. You'll see here in a moment. Her ultimate. With Fate, for example, if you combine her with Fat fucking King, she gets 480% of attack heals to all allies, and fills the ultimate move gauge by 2 orbs. So she's gonna pop that, waste 5 orbs, and then fill it back up to 2 again. What the fuck? And then you use a rank 3 card, boom, she's ready to fucking spam heal again, bro. And if you don't use the Fate with Fat King, you can get 420. So that's still fucking pretty good. 480 to 420. Alright, you're gonna be healing a lot. And then her passive fills the hero's ultimate move gauge by 2 orbs at the start of the battle. So you're already gonna be at 2 right off the bat. So if you quickly use a rank 3 or use 3 ranks worth of fucking skills, like in your first 1 or 2 turns, and you get into a situation where your HP is getting pretty low while you're trying to set up for some other plays and trying to get that boss grounded, she's going to come in clutch and just fucking almost full heal everybody, if not full heal everybody, depending on how high you get her attack stat, which I'm hoping a lot of you will be able to build her up pretty damn good. And look at her fucking combat class. Her combat class is fucking high as hell. Almost 4,900. She gets 9,000 HP, 700 defense, and pretty solid 520 stat. Her stats are pretty damn nice. She has a very well balanced stat. So boost that attack up as high as physically possible. Make good use of those heals, and you will not regret it. So there's all those units. Now, the last unit we're going to talk about today in today's video, of course, you already know who that is, and it's the unit that I somehow don't have. I've been trying to summon for 5 units left, and he's the one I don't got, is Green King. King, the Fairy King, Forest Guardian. Now, what does this guy do? He does a little bit of everything. Now, what's really funny is his ultimate really isn't what makes him good. His ultimate isn't really what we're concerned with here. It's actually a combo that you can do with his skill 1. And we're going to talk about that skill 1 combo is right now. So if you notice, it says inflict spike damage equal to 400% of attack on one enemy. Spike does 2 times crit damage increase. So if you're at 100% crit damage, he's going to do 200%. If you're at 200% crit damage, he's going to do 400%. So you're going to hit hard as absolutely possible on this boss. And this is why he's one of the best nukers for this particular stage, because he can hit the boss if he's flying or if he's grounded. It doesn't matter because it's not a ground-based move. Skill 2, you're not really gonna, it's okay, but you're really just gonna be getting base damage out of that. You're not gonna be really getting the ruin because you can't debuff them, obviously. But you know, 400% damage, it's whatever. It's good damage. But yeah, his skill 1 is where all of his damage is coming from because of his passive. Magic Control. Increases crit chance by 10% per each ultimate move gauge orb. The fuck? Increases by an additional 50% if it's completely filled. So let me tell you guys what this means. If you leave your ultimate gauge full the entire fight, he will crit with a 100% chance. Now, that's not taking into account crit resistance, crit defense, and stuff like that on the bosses, obviously. But still, nonetheless, having access to 100 plus, because you're actually going to be over 100%. Because look, just base stats alone, his crit chance is 30%. So he'd be over 130% chance with just these base stats. This is without even building them up. So 130% crit chance, just base. And you're obviously going to get that even higher depending on when you put gear on him and when you build him up and make him a fucking UR and 65, 70, 6-star awakened, all that other crazy shit you guys are going to do with this boy. He's going to fucking do crazy crit damage. And what is his base crit damage anyway? 150. You could easily get that to 200, 220%, even over that, especially if you run him with full crit damage gear that you can get right now from the PvP shop. I'm not sure if Chapter 6 has crit damage gear or not. It might. And if it does, that's another way to farm up your crit damage gear. But regardless, if you put full crit damage gear on this bad boy, holy hell, his crit damage is going to be high. And if you pair up his passive, which will give him up to 100%, if you let this ultimate gauge stay full, you're going to be fucking doing ridiculous damage with his skill 1. The combo is insanity. So there's a helpful tip from your boy Josh first. Hopefully I gave you guys some pretty good options. Like I said, the limited pool right now for characters is kind of making this stage a bit more it's a bit tight on the characters that you can run, but I think we have at least enough different options. Hopefully you guys have a couple of those units that you can run. Again, you can run the Blue King for healing with his second skill on rank 2s, and he provides a little bit of a stat boost to fairies as well. So you can run the Blue King if you have to, but you really don't want to. You want to run some of those other units that we've already discussed. A couple of the more free-to-play units, of course, would be Gil Thunder. You're going to be running your Kane or your Golgius as your sub for that additional damage. Honestly, if you're running the fairies, I would probably just run Golgius instead of Kane. That way, you're getting that additional 15% damage, which will be very helpful for that DPS. And there's also a pretty decent SR healer as well in SR Hendrickson. This is really the only thing you're going to be making use of from him. He gives you heals all allies, 100% of attack, rejuvenates for 3 turns. Rejuvenation is recovery equal to 60% of recovered HP at the start of every turn, and he'll do that for 3 turns on a rank 1 card. It's very good. Then it goes up to 150, and then it goes up to 250. So that's a very solid heal in my opinion. But really outside of that, he really doesn't have much to offer. I mean, he does increase pierce rate per skill used, but he's not going to be really there for damage anyway. He's there for pure support with the healing if you guys don't have a healer green Elizabeth, or for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable running Blue King. So there you guys go. That is the best options that I could possibly give to you guys right now. Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, if this was helpful, definitely leave a thumbs up. Comment below what you guys think. Are you prepared? Are you getting prepared? Are you a little bit overwhelmed? I know there's a lot of units that some of you didn't even think about building up right now, and now you will if you want to do the demon. Thankfully though, if you do it right with you and your partner, you should be able to do this pretty easily on normal mode. Now hard and extreme of course is a different story, but normal mode you'll at least be able to go in there and start farming up your wings so you can eventually get your characters to level 70 and beyond when we get other demons and stuff like that in the future. So I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, check notifications, and join us in the Discord below. Have an awesome day wherever you guys are. Until next time, peace.